Welcome to the 7 steps to get your time back. I'm super excited that you're here. This is the show where we believe that organization, whether it's your home, whether it's your business, personal life, all things organization, opens up the pipeline for the creativity of God to flow. I'm your host, Aldreama, aka Dream, and I'm so glad that you pressed the play button today. Now, if you're new here, let me tell you exactly who I am and what I do. I'm a podcast strategist and efficiency architect and the host of the show. And so I help female podcasters, service-based entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and authors organize their systems so that they can focus on the things that they're really good at. So I wrote a book back in 2013 called The 7 Disciplines of Productivity. And in that book, I talked about these 7 disciplines. Okay. There are actually 7 disciplines that no matter what guru you talk to, no matter what program you take, what coach you work with, there's going to be these primary 7 areas that will have to be discussed if you want to experience the fullness of what productivity is. And so I talked about these 7 disciplines of productivity, how to master your time and live chaos free. So number 1 was priorities. Number 2, goals, time, clutter, information, systems, and procrastination. And so again, no matter what guru, what program you take, these are the primary 7 areas that have to be touched upon in order to experience the fullness of what productivity is. These 7 disciplines. Now, there are subcategories within those categories, right? So, like within time, I'm going to explain to you what those subcategories are, because that's what we're going to talk about is time. What you're going to discover in this training is a biblical perspective of time and how it works, the true meaning of what time management is and isn't, and a blueprint to get your time back. Now, this is for you if you're a coach or consultant. Let me move my face there over. If you're a coach or consultant or service-based entrepreneur, this is for you. If you're struggling to get things done, if it seems like there are not enough hours in the day, and if at the end of the day, you're wondering where your time has been spent, this is for you. Now, what would you do with 2 hours or 10 more hours? I want you to think about that. You can pause the training here, or pause the recording here, and think about what would you do with 2 more hours or 10 more hours. I've supported pastors, attorneys, doctors, other professionals in a variety of ways that pertain to productivity, time management, and organization. And while supporting these leaders, I've learned a ton from working with different people in a plethora of careers. And so it's been a tremendous wealth of knowledge that I've been able to gain. I'm also an author and a trainer, and I love chocolate. I just had to share that with you. And so you see there, I'm holding a brownie. So if you ever want to send me anything, just send me chocolate. Just to give you a little bit of context behind how this knowledge, and I don't say that to brag or anything. I just say that I've got a tremendous amount of experience in this area. One reason is because I was a caregiver at an early age, probably from like about 10 years old to my 30s. And the reason I share that with people is because at an early age, I had to learn how to be better organized. I had to learn some skill sets because it was a tremendous amount of responsibility. Now, I had not, at that age, I didn't know exactly what was going to come of it. And it's not like I was presenting or anything like that. But it was definitely essential for today and the things that I'm passionate about, which is time management, productivity, organization. And it's because I've had to learn the benefits of being organized and how it minimized my stress, at an early age. And so now I'm able to talk about that. Over the years, as I said, I've worked with pastors, attorneys, doctors, and entrepreneurs. And what I've learned from studying and working and consulting in this space, that the system and the process that I'm going to share with you is something that actually works. Now, here's the question. What happens when you don't manage your time? And I want you to think about what happens when you don't manage your time well. When you just go with the flow, when you just fly by the seat of your pants, what happens? Well, for one, your business won't grow. You won't be able to bring on the number of clients you want or need to maintain or increase your income. You'll be stressed, trying to do too much in the time that you have available. So grab a pen and paper. Let's dive in. 7-step formula to get your time back. So here's number 1. You ready? All right, here we go. Step 1, respect. You think, respect? What does that have to do with managing your time? Well, respect is a deep feeling or a feeling of deep admiration for something or someone, right? And so this deep admiration for time, and I'll be sharing 4 elements, right, when it comes to respect as it relates to time. So number 1, you must respect time. You must have a respect for time, right? You must understand that time is valuable. It's a valuable commodity. You must understand that time does not equal money. You hear people say things like, well, time is money, time is money. No, it's not even close to equaling money. Time is way more valuable than money. But we do treat it as though it has more value because we document where our money is being spent, but we never document where our time is being spent. There's a time and a season for everything under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. We need to respect that because there are times you may be working on some things, right? Or that it's not the right season and you're wondering why is it not working, right? And it may be because it's not the right season or it's not the right, right time for it. And so you have to have a deep admiration and respect for that. Time management is not about managing time. That's an oxymoron, right? It's more about managing the agreements you make concerning your time. I'll say that again. Time management is not about managing time. It's about the agreements that you make concerning your time. So respect time. Next, you want to respect your time. So not only do you want to respect time, you want to respect your time. When you respect your time, then you have no tolerance for those who disrespect your time, right? Because you value your time and you learn to love time more than you love money, right? And lastly, you'll stop selling your hours for dollars because there's way more value to your time than there is money. Okay? All right. Next, respect the time of others. Let me move my picture over here so that you can see and be able to write. So when you respect the time of others, that gives them a picture of what respecting someone's time is like. It gives them a picture of what that looks like, right? And you're sowing seeds of respect. And they're more likely to reciprocate, right? And so the scripture there is from Galatians 6 and 7b, for whatever you sow, that you shall also reap. And again, when you respect the time of others, you're sowing seeds. All right, let's move on to the next one. Respect agreements. So respect time, respect your time, respect the time of others, and respect agreements. Why do you want to respect agreements? You respect your commitments to yourself and the agreements that you make. Those agreements are agreements between you and the activities that you engage in. Okay? This is what time management is all about. The moment you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes, your agenda is set. What do I mean by that? If you haven't planned your day, guess what's going to happen? Your day is going to plan for you, okay? Because you haven't made an agreement in terms of what you're going to work on. If you don't plan your day the day before, then when you wake up in the mornings, by default, you have made an agreement with chaos or anything that just happens to come your way. Okay, so it's about respecting the agreements that you make. Okay, you don't have a time management problem. The problem is honoring commitments and agreements. Okay, so respect is about respecting time, respecting your time, respecting the time of others, and respecting agreements. So we're going to move on to number 2, step 2, record. Keep a record. Simply means to set in writing, have evidence of. When you keep a record of where your time is being spent, this is essential to your time management process, okay? Because when you don't know where your time is being spent, then you cannot make corrections. So you want to begin keeping some kind of record of where it's being spent. Because again, we have financial budgets. We know where our money is being spent if we're being smart with our money, but we don't keep track of our time. It helps you to stay in alignment with your goals. It gives you a visual snapshot, and it helps you stay focused, and you'll become more proactive. You can see that image there to the left of the screen where, those are some areas that you can keep track of as it relates to your time. This is a picture of what I call a weekly brain thought download. Some people call them brain dumps, whatever you choose to call it. It's still essential to helping you keep track of what you need to do, how much time you're going to take in doing those things, and time diaries and journals and things like that will help you to actually keep track of your time. So keep a record. So Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain. That's a Hebrew word, kathab, implication to write, set in writing, give evidence of, and keep a record. So we are responsible for knowing where our time is being spent. All right. So number 3, rescue. Free from confinement or custody. Recover by force. What do you mean by rescue? What does that have to do with time? We talked about the first one. We talked about respect. Number 2, then we talked about keeping a record. Okay. And so number 3 is rescue. So if you notice the sequence here, then you'll understand better. If you follow this step-by-step process, you will understand better. Certain things will surface as it relates to your time. You'll see where your time is being spent. How can you make corrections? How can you tweak this? How can you manage your time more effectively? So rescue is the 3rd step. Deuteronomy 28:31. Rescue, free from confinement or custody, recover by force. So Deuteronomy 28:31 and B says, thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Now, this scripture is not talking about time. However, it does give a picture of something being in danger. Which are the sheep in this case. But rescue meaning to free from confinement. Okay, let me move to my next slide so that I can better illustrate the point. So have you ever said to yourself, that's 5 minutes of my time that I cannot get back? I've said it, I've done it, and it's very frustrating, because I value my time, right? And here's the thing, you want to take your time back from and rescue by force from distractions, people, and things that's robbing you of energy and time. Consider your time as something that's in danger and that is being held captive. Procrastination, shiny objects, busyness and perfection, people pleasing, lack of boundaries, refusing to say no to non-essential activities. These are all things that you need to think about when it comes to something that has your time and you need to rescue it. That is the mindset that you need to have. You have to be diligent about your time. You have to be purposeful about your time. You have to be intentional about your time. It's time to take your time back by force. Learn to set boundaries and protect your energy and say no. No is actually a complete sentence. And so these are ways you can learn to protect your time and to rescue it. All right, let's move on. Reallocate is step 4. To designate something for a new or different purpose. Change the way you're using it. Now, when it comes to reallocating, activities like randomly checking email on social media, I can tell you, these are fragments of time that it may seem insignificant, but they add up. Just like when you think about the illustration that I give about money and keeping track of those expenditures, it's the same concept, right? Because when you are managing your money, you want to make sure that you capture $5 here. Maybe you spend $5 a week on Starbucks or whatever, Well, if you multiply that times 52, you've spent quite a bit of money, okay, on coffee, okay? So it's fragments of time that may seem insignificant, but will add up. Time that maybe you hadn't considered before that can be reallocated and used differently. Now, I want to give you some statistics. So research suggests that it can take your brain up to 25 minutes to refocus on the original task after getting distracted. Now, that's 25 minutes. If you are distracted 25 minutes, let's just say you're distracted, 3 times a day. That's like 75 minutes. That's like almost 2 hours, right? What could you do with that? That's time that can be rescued, like in the previous step, and reallocated, managing those distractions. This is precious time. Small fragments that can be reallocated. Okay. All right. Study shows that working in intervals of, say, 90-minute intervals can help improve your productivity tremendously. When you think about it, it's really, nowadays, it's really hard to really get in your zone for like 90 minutes of focus. But when you work Let's just say you work in 90 minutes, you take a break, 90 minutes and take a break. You will accomplish so much more with that intense focus. When you do those in 90-minute intervals, I know I've done it, almost forgotten, where I was because I was so focused on, getting something done. Another statistic shows that this is an internal report from Personal Management Association, shows that training, when it's combined with coaching and a course, or the training and coaching combined, will increase your productivity by an average of 86%. That is huge. That's like you will quadruple your productivity. Like you will 4x your productivity just by working with a coach and having the training, okay? Rather than just having the training, which is about 22% compared to 22%. Researchers found productivity dropped as much as 40% when subjects tried to do 2 or more things at once. Okay. Multitasking. Listen, I can't tell you how important this is, how crucial this is to your productivity, not to multitask. Now, I will say this. There are things that you can do while doing something else. For example, if you are doing laundry and then maybe you are doing something else, maybe in the kitchen, or maybe you're doing some work in your office and the laundry is being done. That the laundry doesn't take intense focus, but perhaps the project that you're working on does require intense focus. That is what they call parallel tasks. Okay. But multitasking, it does not work. Okay. It's proven. I'll move on from that. All right. Let's move on to our next step. This is perhaps my favorite part. And this is really like the foundational step of this whole entire process, is step number 5. But again, notice the sequence here, because it's important that you follow the sequence first. But this is extremely crucial to the process. Okay. Step number 5, which is redeem. Okay. Redeem. Buy back, rescue from lost, improve opportunities. So Ephesians 5:16 says, See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Redeem means to buy back, rescue from loss, to improve opportunities. So you may think, okay, how in the world can I buy back my time? I'm going to show you. So in this scripture, there's 2 words for time: chronos time and kairos time. Okay. So chronos time, that's the hours, the minutes, the months, the years. This is time that you can keep track of, right? This is time that you can calculate. This is time that you can document. Okay. That's chronos time. Think about the word chronological, right? And that's where, that word comes from, chronos. Kairos time is opportune time, seasons, appointed times. Okay. That's not something that you can document, but what that scripture is saying there is that you're going to redeem your chronos time for kairos time. We're responsible for both of them, okay? Because we only have a certain amount of time. We only have 24 hours a day, right? 365 days a year, what have you. We all have the same amount of chronos time. So it is our responsibility to keep track of that, to go through those first 4 steps that I just showed you so that you can redeem your chronos time for Kairos time. So let me explain a little bit more, but I want to explain it without confusing you. So the way you're going to do that is when you go through this process, you go through this step-by-step process, what you're going to discover are areas that you need to redeem, areas of time, pockets of time that we talked about that you need to redeem and reallocate for a different purpose so that you are free to seize opportunities. That's what the Kairos time is. Okay. Because if you are working and working and working, 20 hours out of 24 hours, you won't be able to seize the opportunities that may be presented to you because you're constantly working. You're constantly toiling. We need to make sure that we free up our time so that we're able to recognize opportunities. All right, so I'm going to move on to number 6, rest, right? Rest, refresh, renew, so that you can reset. So Hebrews 4:9 and 10 says, there remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God. For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from their works, just as God did. Wow. Isn't that something? Rest. And so I want to give you a blueprint because I told you that I would provide you with a blueprint. This is straight from Scripture that will help you to get your time back. And so what I'm sharing with you is this 7-step formula in order to get your time back. But I wanted to also show you in Scripture a methodology that people use today, but may not think about the fact that it actually comes from the Bible. Okay? Time chunking is in the Bible. It's the process of grouping similar tasks on specific days. And you've heard of time chunking. So time chunking in God's creation process in Genesis 1:1-31, God used time chunking. And I'll show you. Day 1, heaven and earth. That's what he created. Day 2, he created the sky. Day 3, he created land. Day 4, he created day, night, and seasons. Day 5, he created creatures, animals, birds, livestock. Day 6, he created mankind. And day 7, he rested. So you see how the blueprint for us to be able to get all the things that we need to get done is already in Scripture. Okay? Now, what I want to show you is how perhaps you can apply this methodology to your life and to your work. Perhaps yours would look like this. Mondays, you do administration and organizing for the week. Tuesdays, sales calls. Wednesdays, coaching calls with clients. Thursdays, onboarding new clients. Fridays, financial activities, invoicing. Saturdays, family time. Sunday, rest. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but just a blueprint of how you could apply that same methodology. Biblical principles, hashtag biblical principles that work, right? Now, when we embrace God's attributes, we're able to live out his purpose and his assignment for us. Because Scripture gives us a blueprint, right? And God was not resting because he was exhausted. He rested because the work was finished. Okay? All right. Let's move on to number 7. Step 7 is rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. So, very simple concept, right? You'll have to do this over and over again until you've gotten rid of the residue. Kind of like, shampooing your hair, right? You shampoo and then you rinse. You shampoo and then you rinse, or you shampoo, condition, rinse. There's a process. You do it over and over until you remove the residue. So you'll have to tweak and refine this process until you get the result that you want. All right. Hopefully you can still see this. So this is a recap here. Respect. Okay. So number one was respect. Respect time, your time of others, and your agreements. Number two, a record. Keep a record of the activity so you have evidence of where your time is being spent. Number three, you then rescue that time to free it up from confinement so that you can reallocate those fragments. Change the function and the placement. Determine some categories. I didn't talk about that just a second ago, but your categories, you'll discover where you can automate, delegate, or terminate. Okay. Number five, redeem. You're going to leverage your Chronos time. You're going to keep track of it so you can improve times for opportunities. Okay. Number six is rest. Incorporate a time to reset and be refreshed. And number seven is rinse and repeat. All right. Now, I shared the biblical perspective of time and how it works. I shared the true meaning of what time management is and what it isn't. I also shared a blueprint of how to get your time back. You have everything you need. Okay? You follow this process, you will get your time back. Now, I shared this concept with other entrepreneurs. They loved it. They loved it and they immediately saw the value and began applying the strategies. However, they wanted more. Okay? They wanted more. They wanted something that provided action steps, accountability, and affordability. And they also wanted to get out of overwhelm, stop being stressed. They wanted to stop things from falling through the cracks. They wanted to actually complete something and get things done. So I want to share with you some testimonials from clients. Okay. So Portia says, working with Aldreama to get organized has been beneficial, not only in my personal, but professional life as well. Using the list method, which is one of the methodologies I used with her, to prioritize tasks and has helped to reduce the overwhelming feeling I would get when tackling large projects and work and at home. I'm able to prioritize and actually complete something. Remember, I talked about it. It's like you want to complete something. Okay. Lysandra says, Aldreama helped me to hash out the systems in my business, how to work a customer from the beginning to completion. This helped me not to lose anybody in the process. What would you do with more time? 5 hours, 10 hours. This is absolutely possible when you work with me. I have a couple more testimonials. Sean says, I'm so proud of the work you've done for this community, and I know everyone has felt the impact of your life and work. If you need a business manager or a productivity coach, she is the one to work with. Tavana says, Aldreama is a lifesaver. She came in when I felt like I was drowning during a program launch and helped me with client care and logistics. I love working with her because she got as excited about my business as I was and never said she couldn't do anything. She just rolled up her sleeves and figured it out. I definitely look forward to working with her again in the future. These are actual testimonials from clients that I have worked with. Now, if you would like to work with me, if you need a deeper dive into getting more time, managing your time more efficiently, boosting your productivity, remember the statistics, I can't even say it, the statistic that I showed you where it will quadruple your productivity when you work with a coach and you go through the training. So if you would like to know more about how that could happen, then I invite you on a call with me. And I will be happy to talk with you about what your challenges are, as well as see if what I'm doing works for you. So feel free to hop on a call with me. It will take you to my calendar, schedule a time, and then we'll see if it's a good fit. So listen, I hope you've enjoyed the training. I look forward to hearing from you, and let me help you to get your time back. This is now more than ever, it is so crucial that you are able to manage your time and do things more efficiently, because there's so many distractions out there. I want to help you set your priorities. I want to help you to get rid of those distractions. I want to help you to get focused. So let's hop on a call. I look forward to talking with you soon, and let's get our time back. Have a great day.